Okay, Jim, plenty of people in Seattle are very, very excited already about what Lazaro Montes could do. And I know last year when we talked, you said, look, I think a big key for him is going to be cutting down the strikeout rate in 2023 and see how he can do that. And he did cut it down a decent amount for a guy who's really not that old. I mean, he got it from 33% and all the way down to 25%. And for the levels he was at, he really did hit. So for 2024, like, what is a fair expectation for what Lazaro Montes could do?
I think you're just hoping he does more of the same. Like you said, he cut it down. Like with his power, like, I mean, I think you'd love to get the strikeout rate down to 20% in the minors, and it'll probably, obviously it's going to probably be higher in the majors. But like you said, Lyle, he's 18 years old. He got some time in low A last year. Not only did he cut the strikeout rate down, but like the strikeout to walk ratio went from a little bit over 2-1 to more like 3-2. Like he drew more walks. He cut down the swing and miss. And the power with him is so good that, like, I mean, he's the type of guy. I'm not saying he's going to be a 40 home run guy. He's got 40 home run upside. And if he hits 30 to 40 homers a year and he strikes out 180 times, you're going to take the strikeouts. So you just want to see him, like, continue to maybe get a little bit. Like I said, it'd be ideal if he could get the strikeout rate down to 20 to 22% and maybe draw a few more walks. But he did make a lot of progress, and he's still so young. He's going to be 19 all season. So I think, honestly, you're just hoping that he stays healthy. Like there's no fluke injury or anything. He gets, 500 at-bats this year, 500 plate appearances, and continues to make progress. Because he's still, I mean, he's probably 3 years away from the big leagues, realistically, which would, still put him in the big leagues when he's 22 years old. But, like, I just think you have to be really encouraged by what he did last year. And you just hope he continues on that path.
Much like Laz, we talked about Felnin Celesten a lot last year about what his path to the big leagues would look like. And here we are a year later, he's yet to actually play in a professional game. This year for Felnin, it's going to be DSL. It might be a little bit of complex, if I'm going to guess.
I bet he comes over here sooner rather than later. Like he was a guy, he had the hamstring injury last year, so he didn't get to play. And well, it'll be interesting because, they've changed. The complex leagues begin in May. I actually think, like, he was a guy who was considered fairly advanced, and I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but considering how advanced they thought he was a year ago, I wouldn't be shocked if he started the year in the complex league in May. And the hope was that he got at least a little bit of time in single A. Because I think he's considered pretty advanced for a national guy and could be solid or better tools across the board. So I think they're going to, like, it's not pushing him, but I think they're going to try to move him pretty quickly.
Okay, to get to a couple more guys here as we continue to go down this list, like another couple guys that haven't played a ton, they've played more than Felnin has, but Johnny Farmello, Ty Pete, the other two first-rounders that the Mariners took last year, like, they got a little bit of time in low A last year. Jerry DiPoto seems to be very high from the way he's talked about Johnny Farmello. Like, again, kind of with these guys, like, what is another kind of reasonable outlook on the two of them as they enter their first year of real professional baseball in a full season extent?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both talented guys. Like, I think, like, compared to Cole Emerson, I just think Cole Emerson's, like, on a different level as a hitter. So I think with Cole, like, he's probably going to move quicker. I could see Farmello and Ty Pete, who are really interesting guys, need a little bit more time to adapt to pro ball. They might, I don't think they're going to come in at 374. Like, Farmello didn't play last year. Pete did play a little bit. He struck out 30 times in 24 games. Like, I think they're going to need more polish. They're more raw at the plate. Now, they both have interesting ceilings. I mean, Farmello can really run. He's probably the quickest player of those three guys. There's some power in there. It's just the swing. The swing isn't like your picturesque left-handed swing. And so, like, there's some like guys love the athleticism. Some scouts question the bat a little bit. Ty Pete has, like, monstrous bat speed. Like, I mean, he's a potential, 2020, homer steal guy down the road, like, really big arm. But, like, I think, like I said, like, I think both those guys I like them both. Like Cole Emerson, like I said, I think Cole Emerson's going to jump up our top 100 prospect list this year. I think Farmel and Pete are going to need longer to develop at the plate. I don't necessarily think they'd be top 100 guys by the end of 2024. Maybe by the end of 2025, they both have upside, but I think they're going to need more time to develop.
The eighth guy in the MLB pipeline top 100 is Tyler Locklear, a guy you mentioned out of this entire group that we've talked about today is the most likely to make it to the big leagues this year. Does he have anything left that he actually needs to prove in the minors?
Yeah, I think Tyler, you kind of know what you're getting. It's power over hit. There's going to be some swing and miss with Tyler. He will draw some walks. He was banged up last year, so he really hasn't played that much above high A. He got 22 games in Double A, played in the fall league. So I think he's got to hone the approach a little bit more. I think realistically, I know they've tried him at third. I think he's, realistically a first baseman at the big league level. He played first base exclusively in the AFL. So I don't know if they're just going to keep him, solely at first base and, let the bat develop. I think what you're kind of hoping with him, honestly, is that, he becomes a player similar to what Ty France is right now in the big leagues. But, he really only has, I think 20 or so games above high A. So I think he probably needs to face upper level pitching. I think he could be up at the end of the year, but even realistically, I don't think he's going to get, if he comes up, I don't think it's going to be like it's an everyday player getting a lot of at bats. I think it'd be more like he'd come up late in the year or, if they have an injury and they need him, I think he does need a full year of at bats against upper level pitching to prepare him for the big leagues.